Welcome to Goats on a Budget. It's been a while, Joe.
It has been a minute. We've been busy though. We've both been
Uh,
busy
life definitely has a way of getting in the way of good fun.
for sure.
Yeah, well, how's life been treating you, my friend? I'm sure you've been scouring the online world looking for deals.
I have. It's been what we're about a month removed from Strongsville, I guess, or Independence, and I haven't slowed down with my participation in the hobby. It's just been hard to find time to make videos. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, the intake never slows down. So I've picked up some pretty cool stuff.
Well, good. I can't wait to see some of what you've picked up in the future, Joe. I'm sure you'll be sharing that with the
Oh,
YouTube community real soon.
absolutely.
Well, Joe, tonight we've got some great cards to look at. So tonight we're actually going to break it down and look at great pitchers. And there was a lot of good cards to choose from. The thing I found about pitchers is it's not always easy to find some of the iconic names on a goats at a budget price or on a budget price. And so I've got a few cards for us. We've kind of conferred back and forth and put the choices together. I think we came up with some good options. The thing you'll see it's a little bit different tonight if you're viewing is that of course we always show the SGC and PSA comps. This time around, we went onto eBay and actually tried to find examples of cards that were out there at the similar grade that you could go buy, you know, buy it now or make an offer on whatever. So potential to negotiate. So it was easy to do in some cases, some it wasn't. I think you'll find the format very interesting. But yeah, I'm ready to jump into it, Joe. What about you?
I'm ready. Let's get it on.
All right. So our first goat is the great Allie Reynolds in the 1952 tops, number 67. This is actually the blackback version. Allie Reynolds, I think, is an underrated guy in the hobby, Joe. He was a great
Absolutely.
hurler. I
Yep.
mean, what's the deal there?
I don't know. If anybody's unfamiliar with Allie Reynolds, just go back and look, what he did for those Yankees teams of the late 40s, into the 50s. So many great, World Series teams, pennant winning teams. And you look at it, and Allie Reynolds was a huge part of that, that success. So I don't understand why the guy doesn't get more hobby love. Um, I'm not going to sit here and say he should be in the Hall of Fame, but I don't think it's, out of the question to at least have a discussion about it as well. I think he made an impact over a relatively, I guess, short term compared to some of these other pitchers we're going to talk about on here, but still yet, fantastic pitcher. And this is my favorite card of his.
Yeah, I was going to say the 52 top set is great in itself. This is actually one of my favorite images as well of Allie Reynolds, and we generally try to stick with for the purposes of this show with the collector grade. So if you're in the 50s, we're looking at grade fives, etc. For some reason, I thought, well, what's out there in a grade four on this one, just to see if it would help with price, and I was actually kind of surprised. So. These comps are a couple of weeks old, and the examples you see on eBay are the same. They're a couple of weeks old as well, so no guarantee these cards are still out there. But I was able to find examples when I went looking for them on eBay. Joe may have already bought some of these good deals. Full disclaimer, but the SGC 4 average for this card over time has been $80, right at $79.99. Last sales of $79.99, $48, $41.89. So this is an example where you got probably a really good looking card, and we see this a lot. Kind of throwing the comping off, but it pretty much lines up with the average price that's been running over time. PSA 4, the average is at 64.42. So when I went to eBay, Joe, I found an SGC 4 for $68 or best offer. So there's a chance to maybe negotiate there and bring that price down, as you can see in the lower right hand corner. And then I found a PSA for 72.50. Had a buy it now option on it. So that really wasn't too far off the comps. Of course, on eBay, sellers have to account for fees and everything else that kind of comes out of their cut. But thought that was two good options I was able to find for the blackback Allie Reynolds.
Yeah, for sure. The blackback does carry a little bit of premium usually over the redback. It's not usually a huge margin. But that would be a case with those two examples you gave. I would buy the card, not the grade, because depending on when they were graded, A PSA 4 could honestly, PSA is harder on cards. People have tried debating it with me. I could find a million examples. They're harder on cards. So if the price was close like that, I would literally just look and see which copy of the card I like better. But I wouldn't be surprised. Maybe give the edge to that PSA 4. If I looked at it real close. But either way, I would, with prices being close, man, I got a Frankenstein collection. I don't care what slab it's in. I'm going with the best card for my budget.
Absolutely. Buy the card, not the grade, not the slab. Buy the best card you can buy. So I
Absolutely.
wish I did, Joe, but I don't have an example of this card. I think there's a good chance you probably do.
I do, but it's a relatively recent addition. Shout out to my man Jake at Legends Never Die when we were at Strong Dependence. He had this card, and this is something I am working on the 52 top set. Low numbers. I've got very few high numbers. I think I own like 3 or 4 high numbers. But he had this one in his box for sale, and I just had to have this thing, man. The color
Yeah.
on it pops. The centering is fantastic. I would say that if I was to grade this, it would be in the 3 to 4 range. It's got a few little surface things, but man, you have to look for them. Beautiful copy. This is the red back version. Like I said, usually the black backs will carry a little bit of a premium. I think I'm no absolute expert on 52 tops. I think on some cards it probably doesn't even really matter. They're both going to be about the same. But this, can't thank Jake enough for a great deal on a beautiful copy for my collection and my set.
Yeah, well, congratulations on that, because that is a
Thank you.
beautiful card, and I'll echo the shout out for Jake as well. What a great guy, and of course we wish him well and all he does in the hobby and in his business life as a dealer as well. All right, so moving on, we have the 1960 tops number 35, Whitey Ford,
Chairman of
SGC
the board.
average, yeah, $68. PSA 6 average of 66.14. So this is I love like I really would love to add a Whitey Ford to my collection. I would love to add the his Bowman rookie, but that's
Mm.
probably a longer term deal. That's a pretty expensive card, and this is another good option right here. I was able to find some examples here, slightly a kind of well, one was above the comps in the PSA version. The SGC version I found was pretty much in line, but it was actually a 5.5, not a 6. But it appeared to be a really good looking card. So it's out there. I didn't have to do too much searching on this card to be able to find something that fell pretty in line with the latest comps. And this is one that I'm thinking about adding to my collection as well.
Yeah, Whitey Ford's another guy. Now he might get a little bit more love than saying Allie Reynolds does, but he still doesn't get the love that he should when you look at what he did for, again, a Yankees team. He came up in 51. I know it's his rookie card. I can't remember when he pitched his first games.
Mhm.
But he came up there in the early 50s and pitched for a lot of those same great Yankee teams, and of course maybe a little bit more notoriety. Running around, known for palling around with the Mick, but still, yeah, you can find Whitey cards really reasonable. And you take the 1960 set, I think if you were to poll everybody, and I'm not saying it would be my number one choice, but it would be up there for me. But I think a lot of people pick this as their number one set of the 60s. And
Mhm.
it is such a classic design. The alternating colors on the names I always think is cool. It's got the close up there along with the shot of him and his wind up. It's different than the follow through cards. Whitey has so many follow through cards through the 60s that this is a little bit different. And I think the colors on it work. The horizontal works. I love the 60s set. I think this is a great place to start. If I was building a Whitey Ford collection, and like you said, the rookie can get kind of pricey, and some of the sets from the 50s can get kind of pricey. But right here,
Mhm.
you're getting into a card. You'd be hard pressed to find a nice raw copy and get it graded and beat this price.
Yeah, absolutely. And you bring up a good point about this being a good place to start if you're looking to pick up some Whitey's run. And you also alluded to the Mick and Whitey and the gang running around. Wouldn't you have kind of liked to have been a fly on the wall
Oh,
for some of those
man, the
times?
stuff I would have seen, yes, I'm sure some of it would have made me blush, and some of it would have made me laugh.
Absolutely, and we can appreciate that.
Yes.
And I don't, as I already mentioned, I don't have this one. I think you mentioned earlier that you do, so I'm going to blow the screen up so you can show it off.
I do have this one, and it would probably be in the neighborhood of a 5 if I was to get it graded. But I have it one of my custom flips in my Mag Pro here, and this is a great centered copy. I don't remember. I should have looked up exactly what I gave for this card raw, and I'm guessing, like I said, it would grade a 5. But I bet you I might be able to. And I could find some pretty good deals and stuff, so I might come close to that price or those prices that you had on there as comps. But I would say, by and large, you're going to be hard pressed. This is a card that I probably, if you want raw, by all means, buy raw, get you a nice copy like this, put it in a Mag Pro, and enjoy it. But if you're looking to get a graded copy, I feel like Whitey Ford's the type of player, and we're talking mid grade. You're better off buy you a nice, find a copy that's out there at bids or has a best offer on it, and pick you up a good copy and save you a few bucks.
Absolutely. And I got to say, Joe, that's a beautiful copy you've got. And I noticed the color of your flip and the red on the left border or backfill of that card went really well together. It made it
Yeah,
pop.
that's
So
one of the reasons I put it in custom. It may get graded someday, I don't know, but where it's at right now, I think it looks great, and I'm very appreciative to have it in its form right now.
yeah, that's a beautiful card. All right. Moving on, we have one of my Braves greats, 1962 tops, number 100, Warren Spahn. Uh, love Warren Spahn. I love the 62 sets. 62 is a tough set to find in great, good, better condition, I will say, because of the wood panel boarding or borders. But SGC 6 average of 55.36, PSA 6 average of 58.46. You can see the latest sales for both. This is one I had a lot of trouble finding near the comps, and I really wasn't surprised. But the best I was able to do was a PSA 6 of 68.99 and a SG, or well, actually two PSAs, one for 75 and one for 68. So this was the first one I really ran into that it was tough to find something pretty comparable um, on eBay in the time I had allotted to do my search. So great card, but this is one that you may, at least online, maybe pay a little bit more for if you want it in a 6.
Yeah, you got to think too. It's a condition sensitive set, right? The
Mhm.
chipping on the wood border shows a lot. It's kind of like the likening 71 tops with the black borders, where a 6 is getting into higher grade. I think starts at least a grade lower in these
Mhm.
condition sensitive sets. So getting a 6 and a 62 is probably a lot like getting a 7 in some other years. So I think that may be part of it. But again, that's going to be another one that if you were to go out and find a nice raw copy of this card, I wouldn't be surprised if you'd be into it for $50. And then by the time you grade it, you're taking the chance. Maybe it gets that 5.
Right.
So I'd be out looking for this. I do not or could not find. I'm pretty sure I have a raw copy of this. I don't have a graded copy, but I could not find it. I memory serves it would not be in the 6 range. It would be a little bit less. But if I was looking for to really find my forever copy of this, I'm going out and I'm going to probably look in that 6 range. And just like I said on the Whitey Ford, I'm going to save myself some headaches and some money, and I'm just going to try to find one at bids. I'm going to find a best offer, and I'm going to bring home an awesome Warren Spahn card, in a 6 in a condition sensitive set, and be happy as a lark.
Yeah, absolutely. And we have no doubt, Joe, that if you go hunting for a 62 spawn, you will find the deal.
I usually let the deals come to me, Tyler. But yeah, if I went looking for it, I find that sometimes when I'm looking for it is when I can't. It plays to my strengths as a collector that I'm not so overly focused. I let the deals come to me. If I went to go
Mhm.
look for this card, I'd probably beat myself up and not find the copy I wanted.
Uh,
Uh,
well,
but they're out there. They are out there. I firmly believe
well,
that.
it's just that sixth sense you have, Joe, to act like a magnet and pull the deals to you that we all wish we had so bad. Moving on. So I actually have this card. This was actually a pickup I made in Strong's Dependence. But 1962 tops again, another 62, so condition sensitive. Number 199. This is the Gaylord Perry rookie. SGC 6 average is 157. and the PSA 6 average is 181. You can see I did have some success in finding some online sales there that are fairly close to the comps, and so this was a card. Kind of mine is in a PSA 5, but I really like the card. So
Yours is a beautiful copy, and if I remember correctly, you bought that off of a special little lady, didn't you?
I did this is an old PSA slab, but love the card and bought this off of our friend Finley Ward from Sandlot Dreams. Her and her dad actually picked it up on Thursday night before the show actually started, when everybody was hanging out in the lobby. And you know what happens when collectors get together. I mean, cards start flying and deals get made. But
Absolutely.
was really happy to pick this card up. Um, this is actually a card I've looked for a while and never pulled the trigger on because I never felt like I found one that I was just quite happy with. And it's a obviously an easy find. It's just a matter of finding the right one for you at the right price. And so, kind of to your point on the Spawn, really wasn't expecting to pick this card up, and lo and behold, there the right one was, and I was able to pick it up at a great price and make a couple of new friends along the way. So. I got to say, maybe I need to change my approach and just try to let things come to me a little bit more often.
It works for me. I recommend it.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I guess you just got to think positive thoughts and think about the card you want, and it just, bam, the world pulls it to you. I mean, let us in on some of your magic here, Joe.
I will tell you, this, that, one of the things we're talking about here on best offer, I'll give a little tidbit here that if you've got somebody that has best offers on their cards, go into that selling tab on your eBay, go down to research and search for that card and find the date that, that the person sold it. You'll find the listing and you'll find out how much they're playing ball, right? Are they
Hmm.
taking 10% off, or are they taking 30 or 40% off their cards? And you kind of know what kind of person, how quickly they're wanting to move cards, right? Maybe they're coming off 5%. But that is one tip I will give people, is just look at what they've sold for best offer and get an idea, where you can start your negotiations at.
Joe, I got to say that's a pro tip you're throwing out there to us tonight. I appreciate that.
People have been on me a lot about making a video, but I don't want to give away too many secrets. But I think there's a lot of people out there that probably know that, but maybe they don't employ it the same way I do. But I use it as a negotiating tool to know, the seller I'm dealing with.
Yeah.
That's it. But I will tell you this now. Here's an example. I've got a copy of this card, and it's not nearly as nice as yours. And mine is a PSA 3. I really thought it was going to score higher. I thought it was going to be like at least a 4. It's still a great card. Don't get me wrong. This is my forever Gaylord Perry rookie card. I'm not looking to upgrade it, but I will tell you the story on this. I bought this raw probably 2 or 3 years ago, not a real long time ago, and I think I gave about $30 for it raw. And I thought, man, that's a really good deal or whatever. And I am sitting there thinking it's gonna grade a little bit higher. Well, when you look at it, and I graded it probably when PSA was, I did bulk and it was $15. I'm sure if I go back and look. So I probably have about $45 into this. But if you look at what I could have bought for $45, I probably could have bought a 4 or a 5 already graded. So it's an example of when one of the times I bought raw and graded did not work out for me. So again, this is a card I probably would go look for a really nice 6 or a really nice 5, and I'd be happy to have it in my collection and save myself the headache of hoping that I buy raw and it grades well enough. Again, if you
Yeah.
care about even getting them graded, I get that too.
Yeah. Absolutely. All right. This next one should be right in your wheelhouse, Joe. So
Absolutely.
we've got Bad Bob here. 1969 tops, number 200, Bob Gibson. SGC 6 average of 72.69, PSA 6 average of 92.61. I had to search for a while to find something pretty comparable for sale on for old Bob on the 69 set. I did find an SGC 6 listed for around right at $100. So well above the SGC comps. Although if you look at the recent sales, you'll see that the last two at the time came in at looks like 105, 106, and then 125. So starting to trend upward there on recent sales, at least within the last month or so. I really like this card. If you're wondering why I have a look of pain on my face, it's because I bit the crap out of my tongue. But the show must go on. Really like the 69 set, but I figured you probably had this one readily available to show us, Joe.
So I do, and it's I love it for so many reasons. Yeah, I love it's the cheesy follow through, all that stuff. But it's coming off of his '68 season where he was, he took the Cardinals to the World Series. They did not win that year. Tigers got lucky, but the very next year, '69, they lowered the mound because Gibson was so
Uh,
dominating that year. So I normally don't have a card this nice a grade, but it was a gift from my dad a few years ago. So, and it's got something on it that you're going to notice right away that's been kind of controversial here, and that is it's got a Mike Baker sticker on it, and it's in a PSA 8, and it's got the
oh,
silver
wow.
Mike Baker sticker on it. But it is a beautiful copy. It's not a copy that I probably would own if it wasn't for my dad being so generous, knowing that how much I love cards and love the Cardinals, and of course he loved the Cardinals too. And during this time, was a big fan, and so he picked up this copy here. It's got the Mike Baker silver diamond on the back of it, and that was before it was maybe as mainstream as it is now. But that's an absolute crown jewel of my collection, to be honest with you. So a little bit higher than what I would normally have otherwise.
Yeah, so you're telling me your father is a man ahead of his time, Joe, is what it sounds like. I mean, he was
I think it was dumb luck. Actually, my stepmom's brother is a big card collector, and I'm sure he guided him to that purchase. So I should thank him as well.
yeah, okay. Well, I was getting ready to say your dad was onto the labels before the rest
Yeah,
of the hobby.
yeah,
Uh, the other thing I was going to say about Bob Gibson is I started looking back through his cards. Of course, I love his rookie is 59. I think that's just it's a card you see it on a table or you see it online, and it just that pink background pops. It
the
instantly stands
Pepto.
out. Yeah, the Pepto Bismol
Yep.
color, but Bob has a lot of great looking cards. I think
Hmm.
there's some really good options if you're a Gibson collector, or looking to kind of jump in and add some Bob to your PC. But this is a good option here. That who knows? There may be something floating around out there on eBay or another online retailer that I don't know about for less than $100, or that you may find out in the wild somewhere. I'm sure the odds are very good there.
Yep, absolutely.
All right, next. So another 69. This is the Topps number 597, Raleigh Fingers. This is actually his rookie card. So the SGC 6 average is $86 and the PSA 6 average is 97.88. I was able to find some options online, SGC for $100 or best offer. And then I found a PSA example for 105.95. So I have this card. I don't remember what I paid for it. I should have actually looked that up. I've had this one for a while. Mine is actually an SGC 5.
Looks great though. Looks absolutely fantastic in my opinion.
Yeah, really happy with this copy. But that's a pre-mustachioed
Yes.
Ra- Raleigh Fingers. So strapping young man. Yeah, this I don't know why, but there's just certain cards, even I mean, I don't know, that just kind of stick out, and I just knew that I wanted the Fingers rookie early on, and so that was what I went and found. But good option there. Good Hall of Fame rookie card you can find very easily, and for
Yeah,
not all that much money.
Hall of Fame pitcher, rookie card from the '60s, and you're not breaking the bank. So I'm ashamed to say I don't have one of these. We were talking before we started recording that if I'd have known we were going to take a little bit longer to record it, I would have bought one of these just to have because I've always wanted it, and this would have been the reason to buy it. So I'm still I've got a save search now, and I'm waiting for the right one to kind of land in my lap. And again, I'll probably be looking at an already graded copy here and just save myself the trouble and pick up a nice Raleigh Fingers rookie card.
Yeah, absolutely. So the last of the line for great pictures, Joe. And I was really actually surprised by this one, but I have this card raw, but it's the 1983 Fleer number 463 Nolan Ryan, coming in at a whopping average for an SGC 8 of just under $15 and a PSA 8 average of just under $15 at $14.80. Was able to find this one online for $17 or best offer in that PSA 8 you see on the screen. I was a little surprised by that. I actually really like this picture of Nolan. Even though this is a early '80s, I like the '83 Fleer set. I like the colors, but I just like it's kind of a different pose. We were talking about this earlier too. It's just a little bit different image than what you see out of Nolan.
Yeah, it's not he's not pitching. He seems to be like maybe just more relaxed, having a conversation, whatever it might be. Maybe he's doing an interview. I don't know. Brett Richards probably knows. He probably has the original negative to this picture or something. Knows the story behind it. But I just think it's really cool. It's unique, right? Nolan's got so many great cards that I really appreciate. But I think this is kind of one of those that gets skipped over sometimes from his '80s cards, and I think it's fantastic.
Yeah, I really like it, and the raw copy that I have is actually a really nice copy. So
Yeah, but if you're buying already graded copies in an 8 for less than the grading
oh
fee,
yeah,
man,
yeah, absolutely. No, that would not be a go get raw and try to grade it because you obviously can't get it graded for less than for $15 you're going to be in the hole just by getting it graded. But
yeah,
I just happen to have that. I've actually got a lot of Ryan's like 79 through 83, 84, 85. I've kind of got them all. He's one of those players that I kind of have a separate box for that I just like the player and kind of consolidate all the cards I have into that box and have them divided out. But yeah, it was hard for me to believe you could go pick up a Ryan for $17 graded in a PSA 8 or less because it's make best offer. So
yeah,
you
it's
may be
crazy.
able to talk that on down.
Yep.
So Joe, the great pictures uh, was I think a fruitful endeavor for us to jump into. I don't know pictures. We talked a little bit before we filmed the show about are we going to do a position? Are we going to do a set? What are we going to do? Because we've done some different things, and you actually hit on what about pictures because there's a lot of good options. But I would ask anybody watching to leave comments on what you would like to see us do the next goats on. Is it a position you want to see like catcher? That one intrigues me. I think we'd have a lot of fun with that.
Yeah.
Is there, is it a set we've not done? Leave us comments and let us know what you'd like to see us kind of dive into the world of goats on, and we'd be happy to do that.
Yeah, I look
So,
forward to it. Gives me a shopping list if I
well,
don't already have it. Yeah.
you've got quite the collection, Joe. But I know it is handy having people help you with ideas on great cards. You can go research and try to find to add to your PC. So that is a nice perk. So
Absolutely.
anyway, Joe, we're coming up on almost the 30-minute mark. I've enjoyed the heck out of it as always, and
Same
look forward to
here.
doing this again, man.
I enjoy doing it. It gives you an idea of what's out there and what you can pick up and not break the bank, right? I think that some people or maybe they're intimidated by graded or maybe they don't want graded or whatever it might be. But if you can see sometimes what you can get for a very reasonable amount of money, I think some people will be surprised.
Yeah, absolutely. And feel free, Joe, to keep throwing those pro tips out, your eBay secrets. I'm sure people are going to start watching now with notepad in hand, just to see
We'll see. I'm
what
not
little
giving away
tidbit
too
you may
much.
drop next. Well, all right, understandable, understandable. So with that, goodbye, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. We'll catch you next time.
See y'all.